Well, welcome back to the Steve Robb Show. Today, we're going to talk about pensions. Not my money, your money. And we're going to discuss how much money do you need to retire. Now, if you're within the ages of 18 and say 65, stay tuned because this is all about you. Here we go. Let's have a talk. Let's have a let's talk. Okay, so let's get started right here. Now, a lot of people are wondering, okay, so why are you talking about pensions? When's the best time to figure out when you should start thinking about retirement? Well, today would be a good day, a perfect day. If you are, say, between the ages of, say, 55 and 65, well, you got your work cut out for you right there. Because, yeah, it's pretty tough to try and plan for retirement when you're almost at retirement. So let's just talk a little bit about figures here first, just general figures. And how much money do you need when you want to retire? Well, the younger you are, the easier it's going to be to do this. But I would say generally most people retire at age 65. But today a lot of people are retiring earlier, just like me. I did a video last December, the end of December there, on how I did it, how I retired at age 48. If you want, I'll put a link down below to that video. But yeah, guys, if you have a company pension plan, of course that's going to be a lot easier for you. But when it comes down to it, not everybody has a company pension plan and they're relying on their government pensions. Whatever country you come from, they can vary all over the map. So let's just take an instance, say somebody retires at age, say, 62, and they're going to live till, say, 85. 85 is the average age today that a lot of people live to, and I would say planning to age 85 is a good start. It's always great to have extra money left over if you live to your 95 or 100, but you know what? The average is really around 85. So there we got 23 years. And depending on how old you are coming up to retirement, let's just say roughly $50,000 a year you're going to need to retire. Now, that's gross, that's not net after paying taxes and everything else, but just say roughly $50,000. So 23 years would be $1,150,000. Now that sounds like a lot of money to you guys, doesn't it? You're going to need that much money. Well, you know what? $50,000 today is really not that much money when you think about it. And especially if you've got 10 or 15 years to go before retirement. $50,000 is going to mean a lot less. So, you know, and, you know, when you're talking about a little over $1 million you have to save up for retirement, that seems like an enormous amount of money. And yes, it is. Now, how do you save that kind of money over your lifespan when you're first starting out? Well, the best thing I would say is to start as early as you can and get some good financial planning advice. And for me, good financial planning advice is not, well, some people aren't going to like this, but I'm going to tell you my own experience and just go by that. Do not go to your local bank or trust company or anybody that has a vested interest in putting you into financial vehicles that, you know what, they're selling themselves and their products at their particular bank. And myself, I would stay away from that. I would say the best financial advice you can get is probably, first of all, going to be your own. Study up on it and learn about investing in the markets or investing in general. But if you can't do that, if you don't feel comfortable with it, getting some good financial investment advice for long-term retirement, there's lots of financial advisors out there that you pay independently. They will not sell you anything. They will set up a portfolio for you, what you should follow, and then you can take that and bring it to any financial institution or whatever you plan on doing, whether it's mutual funds or whatever, and invest it in there for the long term. Now, a lot of you are thinking, okay, so 1,100,000 and, you know, that's a lot of money. You know, we're talking over $1 million. How many people are going to save $1 million? But when it comes down to it, a lot of people that are self-employed, a lot of people that aren't eligible for a lot of government pensions. And I'll go into a perfect example of myself in another vid, how I have put into Canada Pension up here. And it's just like every other country, you have a mandatory government pension that you have to put into out of your paycheck every week. And then some also have another pension for citizens that don't pay into it. And up here in Canada, it's called Old Age Security. And guys, I don't qualify for any of them. I will not see a cent out of that. And that's going to be an interesting vid for the future. And a lot of you Canadians are probably wondering, okay, so that's impossible. How can you pay into it and you're never going to collect? Well, that's going to be an interesting vid. It's got a little bit of a twist to it there. But for now, I would just like to remind everybody that if you're thinking about retirement, the one thing that I've noticed in my life is a lot of people know exactly how much they're making, but they don't know how much they spend. And of course, you have to know your numbers really good before you decide to retire, how much debt you have. And if you have debt, man, oh man, that makes it even harder. And you have to really educate yourself, because, you know, I see time and time again, a lot of my friends, when they're thinking about retirement, they are not, they're not looking at it as a numbers game, really. They're looking at it like, okay, so when I turn age 60 or 65 or whatever the age is that they want to retire, they're going to get so much money. And a lot of them don't judge it properly. They run out of money too fast. They don't realize that when you're retired, unless you're going to sit on the Chesterfield and do absolutely nothing, yeah, you could do quite well on a lot less money. And if you're the type of person who's never traveled in their life or never went anywhere really, you're more of a home person, and you will get a lot of people tell you, okay, well, I'm going to travel the world when I retire, I'm going to do this. And, well, most people do not do that. Most people are very consistent in what they do throughout their life. And if you've never traveled, most people are not going to travel. They ain't going to go and buy themselves a 60-foot RV and travel all through the world. And, you know, this stuff, it rarely happens. There's few examples of people that actually do that. But I would say it's all about numbers, and people do not like to face the facts of numbers. For some reason, they will study a cell phone till there's no possible thing in that cell phone they can't figure out. But when it comes to money management, yeah, like a lot of people stay away from money and they don't want to deal with it. It's almost like something that they know that they have to do, but very few people want to do it. And a lot of people' idea of investing their money is going to their bank and putting it in a savings account, or, you know, and this kind of stuff. Guys, you're not going to, it's better than nothing, right? But you ain't going to get too far doing that. So, like I said, I would get independent financial advice. And remember, when you're thinking about retirement, the best time to do it is when somebody reminds you of it, or if you are not already doing it now, because before you know it, you're going to be my age, you know, if you're a younger person, and you're going to be going, okay, like now what do I do? I mean, I have to retire next month. You know, my company says I have to retire, or it's closing down, or this kind of stuff. Now what do I do? And you have to deal with that at the time, and it's so much easier to deal with it way back, many years ago, and plan for it. And, you know, like I know a lot of people are probably wondering, yeah, that's not so easy, Mac. Like, I mean, I have to pay for this, I have to pay for that, I have to pay for this, I have to pay for... Yes, we all have to pay for all kinds of things. But you know what? When you get older, you're going to have to pay for stuff too. It doesn't stop. You know, and for me, in my example, I spend more money today than when I was working. And that's a fact. That's true. I build more stuff. I have more time on my hands to do things. And I spend more money now than I ever did when I was working. Because I was tied up for, you know, probably 10 to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week when I worked. And I didn't have time to, you know, to do stuff that I do now. And that's a part that a lot of people think about, you know, like if you're like me, you're going to end up not figuring out how much money you actually need if you don't play the numbers right. And that's what it all comes down to, is numbers, and numbers count. So I just thought I'd mention that today in the vid, and hopefully a lot of you guys that are thinking about, you know, retirement, I hope you're somebody that's like 18 or 20 years old watching this and saying, you know what, maybe I should think about that. And for me, what I did, guys, is I invested 10%. You know, like 10% is it might seem like a lot, but 10% out of your paycheck every pay goes a long way when you've got 40 years to go before you're going to retire. And I would say that you'll have no problem reaching your goals, you know, if you do it wisely. Like I said in the beginning, a lot of people, you know, they're good at spending, but they're not good at saving, and they're not good at figuring out how much, you know, they've spent. So I'll leave it like that there today. Thanks for joining me here today. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe. Think about retirement. Come back again. Let's have some more fun. Cheers, guys.